Let's jump into the Roto World player news. For all your player news, go to NBCSports.com as we break down Thursday Night Football, an eventful game, especially for the Rams offense, specifically Puka Nacua, catching 9 passes for 164 yards and a touchdown. Really a solid night for all of the Rams wide receivers. Demarcus Robinson catches 6 passes, 82 yards, and a touchdown. Jay, we were talking off air. Puka Nacua suddenly, it's still a long shot, but suddenly back in the Offensive Rookie of the Year race.
Yeah, now it's a discussion again. I still think C.J. Stroud will win. I think C.J. Stroud should win. Just what he was able to do in his 13 games. We suspect that he's probably going to come back, but certainly it's open now, and it's a race, and it's certainly a discussion with how Puka played last night. He was amazing. He's on pace now to break the all-time record for rookie wide receiving yards in a season, so that has to put you in the discussion. And also, he could have had a bigger night. As I joked to Connor in a text thread, Matthew, that you weren't a part of, again, after Stafford missed Puka wide open for the touchdow, I messaged Connor, Puka Nacua. It means no touchdowns.
That's quite good.
Stafford missed it wide open. One of the very few misses from Stafford on the night, who was magnificent again.
Yeah, Puka played great. To your point about the rookie record, he only needs 129 more yards to set that. By the way, most games with 150 yards from scrimmage by a rookie wide receiver in the Super Bowl era as well. He was terrific. He was coming off a game where he wasn't all that great. I had a friend text me last night saying Puka Nacua, Rashee Rice. And I said, look, I really like both guys, but I have Rice ranked slightly higher.
Yeah.
And obviously,
no longer have that friend.
he's still my friend, but I need Rashee Rice to. We'll see if he still is if Rashee Rice doesn't come through on this weekend. But really nice game here. Some of this was set up by the fact that Cooper Kupp, by the way, was bad last night.
Dropped a lot of passes.
Well, I mean, like the touchdown that Nacua caught on that first drive only happens because Kupp dropped a touchdown pass on third down.
Right. Yep. Well, the thing is that I think people might get a little bit carried away with just the split and the raw numbers between Nacua and Kupp. Nacua goes 9 for 164 and a touchdown. Kupp is 6 for 52 and no touchdowns. But Kupp actually had more targets than Nacua on the night. Cooper Kupp still had 12 targets. I think he just got like 10 out of 10 bad luck in terms of how the game fell, in terms of just these individual plays. So it could have very easily have been Kupp with that type of stat line. And I still would project Kupp as the better guy for the last 2 weeks.
I'll still rank Kupp higher than Nacua next week, although it's certainly closer. Both guys were top 20 guys for me coming into this game. Nothing that we saw last night changes that. But to your point about Kupp, very frustrating. I have Kupp in a number of leagues. I have Nacua in a number of leagues. That all worked out for me. But Kupp in a couple of, I was in a long-time dynasty league that I'm in, and I'm the number 1 seed. And I'm playing the 6th seed who's kind of snuck in. And I was favored by, 15 going into last night. But Cooper Kupp, so massively underperforming, catches just 50% of the balls that go to him. That's his lowest rate since week number 9. Just 6 for 52. He loses yards on the 1 rushing attempt. Dropped 2 touchdown passes, well below what he was projected to do. I'm now projected to lose this game. Very upsetting. I know we're talking about Cooper Kupp and I've made it about me, but that is my genius. Yes. That is my superpower.
We'll get to you again later.
I'm sure we will. Believe me, last night was ultimately not a great night for me, fantasy-wise, even though I do have a lot of Nacua this year.
But I got the nice haircut, though.
I got the nice haircut. I'm still thinking it might be a little too short. You guys don't think so?
Best part is it grows back.
Okay. It does grow back.
We think.
But grows back a little bit.
It might.
They keep
I think it looks crisp.
I don't think it will. That's the thing. I don't think here it will. That's my thing. I think you still see a little there. All right, maybe. It looks on camera.
It's just because you're directly next to Connor's full head of hair. Just makes
is that
it more
what it
stark.
Is?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like when you put if Kadarius Toney was out there next to Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp last night. Just makes it a little bit more stark. Not comparing your hair to Kadarius Toney, but I am a little bit compared to Connor.
That was upsetting. Very upsetting.
Incredible.
I don't know. I feel like I look more bald than normal. And I normally look bald, but I'm just looking at myself now, and I just feel like I look more bald than normal.
It's fine. It's not like you're on national television tomorrow.
What?
It's fine. It's not like you're on national TV tomorrow.
We'll go back before then.
Yeah. Plenty of time. 24 hours.
So effed.
28 hours. It's plenty of time.
Okay.
No worries. Okay, so Demarcus Robinson also has a big night in all of this. On top of Matthew Stafford, of course, throwing for 328 and 2 touchdowns. Sean McVay after the game, do you have something on Robinson?
Yeah, I was just going to say,
he's been great for a couple weeks now.
He's been great for a couple of weeks now. Back-to-back games now, he's played 93% of the snaps since Tutu Atwell went down. Like, I feel like they've really found something here with Demarcus Robinson. He's always had flashes,
I've always enjoyed his work.
Yes.
Demarcus Robinson just hasn't really happened for him.
No, he had moments with Baltimore last year.
City,
previously Kansas City as well. Like, just
very talented prospect.
Just right, couldn't get on the field, with Tirico there and everything like that. So he's always had moments, and it feels like they finally sort of unlocked that now. 4 straight games where he's had at least 13 fantasy points for Demarcus Robinson. 4 straight games with a touchdown. Obviously, that helps with the fantasy points. But getting the usage he is, like, I don't think we thought this offense could support 3 fantasy relevant wide receivers, but maybe they could as well. They're at the Giants next week.
Yep.
It'd be a little dicey to start Demarcus Robinson in a championship game, but in a deeper league, like, I could see it.
I mean, certainly if you need upside, just with the way that Stafford in particular is playing and the way they can spread the wealth on this offense, I think you probably do worse if you do need an upside play.
Yeah, and you brought up Stafford, how well he's playing. Sean McVay talked about that exactly after the game on Stafford playing some of his best football right now. Take a listen.
I think Matthew's done a great job of, being able to distribute the ball, and I think he's playing as good as he's played, Sam. I mean, it's been outstanding. His leadership, he's feeling good too. I mean, people don't understand how much he was pushing through with the thumb injury, but this guy is a stud. He elevates everybody, myself included, and he's playing outstanding, and I wouldn't want anyone else in the world leading our team than him.
Stafford last night, just looking, besides the miss to Nacua, he looks so sharp, and I'll throw this to you guys as well. This is kind of how he has to play, how this offense has to air it out, because the defense, as we talked about earlier, Jay, is not really inspiring right now. So the Rams can find themselves in these throwing aggressive scripts.
I think the thing that we forget with Stafford is that, 2 years ago, he literally won the Super Bowl and marched the team down the field to win it at the death against Cincinnati. And then last year he just had, he might have had the worst offensive line in all of football, and just everything tanked. And it was just
and
Cooper Kupp.
And Kupp was gone. They didn't have Nacua. They lost Robert Woods. They didn't have.
Kyren wasn't a thing.
No.
And I think one of the underrated stories, we never talk about offensive line play because it's so hard for someone who just casually follows football to identify, these changes that the Rams have made at right guard or whatever. But the changes that the Rams have made along the offensive line, this is now a solid unit. And it's good enough for Stafford to perform at the level he is. Same like Indianapolis, their offensive line has completely turned it around. It just impacts everything else on the offense, and Stafford is thriving as a result.
I just remember a couple of weeks ago, we had Denny Carter on our Friday show, for his regression files, and he talked about positive regression was coming from Matthew Stafford, that he was playing well, but his career touchdown rate was way too low, and that positive touchdown regression was coming from Matthew Stafford. Well, ever since Denny said that, it has happened. He had only 9 touchdown passes in his first 9 games of the season, but now he continues in his last 5 games. He's got 14 touchdowns. 14 in his last 5 compared with just 1 interception. He's also averaging over 277 passing yards per game. Since week 12, he's averaging over 21 fantasy points per game. Stafford just playing at a very high level, at least 20 points in 4 of the last 5.
Our last one here from the Rams offense, Kyren Williams. It's a classic Kyren Williams night at this point. 22 carries, over 100 yards. He gets the touchdown. Matthew, all summer it felt like we talked about we were a little nervous with this offensive line, what it would look like, but Cam Akers would get volume. With Cam Akers out the door, all that volume goes to Kyren Williams right now. I mean, this guy could be a first-round pick in redraft next year with what he's doing.
I think he should be.
Like
assuming they don't add anyone in the offseason that's any kind of real competition. I don't know how he's not. Just the volume's insane. The production's been insane. We expect this entire offense to come back for the Rams. It's really interesting for a team that we sort of all left for dead. That was going to be like, oh, they're rebuilding. They've traded all their picks. Stafford's hurt. McVay's being offered crazy TV money to be an analyst, et cetera, et cetera. It's going to be a long road back, and yet here they are. They're 8-7. They're in the thick of the playoff race, and they look good. The defense is a bit concerning, but to your point about Kyren Williams, who's now scored in 3 of his past 4, and has at least 100 yards from scrimmage in 3 straight as well, he's been fantastic. Ever since they got rid of Cam Akers and went to him, when he's been out there, he's been a locked-in top 10 running back. I had him as a top 3 play this week, and he'll be a top 3 play next week.
Yep. No,
Good
I
running
like
back getting a ton of volume on a good offense.
I think right now that the only running back you can say definitively should go over Kyren Williams is Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
I mean, you can make a case for other guys like Jonathan Taylor, full health and everything, but I mean, Kyren Williams is right there. To your point about the Rams, Matthew, on DraftKings, they are 30-1 to win the NFC. I would be much rather backing that than like Detroit at 8-1 or the Eagles at plus 340. I think there's a chance that the Rams can get themselves to a level where, the other good thing with them is that they're going to be the 6 or the 7, and that means that you dodge San Francisco until the NFC title game. And that's the only team that I think that you feel like you're drawing dead against. So maybe because I think they can beat the Eagles. I think they can beat the Cowboys. I think they could beat the Lions the way they're playing at the moment.
Yeah, and just by the way, if they get listen, one game, anything can happen. The Rams certainly know the Niners well. Like if they played them twice this year, they played them many times. Like
they could have beaten them the first time they played this year. It was very close, and there was no cup in that game.
Yeah. Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and RotoWorld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest RotoWorld fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.